Hi there, I hope this finds you well. This will be an instructional video on mask making, and please bear with me. I've not done this before, but anyway, there's always something new we can learn, right? And I guess that's why you're watching this. I'm pleased that you are willing to help out with this activity. So this is the mask that we'll be making, and I like this mask because it covers your nose and your mouth very well. It is also adjustable, as you can see, and the little strings are actually made out of t-shirt material, and they can be adjusted depending on, as you can see, the size of your head and so forth. But this is what we'll be making. There's an inside and an outside, and it's not very difficult. It's just we have to take it one step at a time. And I don't know how familiar you are with sewing machines, so bear with me. I'm going to start with a few basics. Now this is my machine. Every machine's a little bit different, and they thread differently, so you'll have to try to get a little familiar with the machine you're working on. But basically, once you have it threaded and the needle threaded, and if I haven't sewn for a while, I usually run a few stitches to make sure my tension's right, but there is a tension on your thread, so that if you don't have the right tension, you're going to have a loose seam. So you'll want to work that through, and you'll know if you have a loose seam if you pull it apart and you can see the thread inside. So I'm going to show you a few things. You'll have a presser foot. This is the presser foot. The presser foot comes down. There's usually a little lever here. Sometimes it's back here. But that'll put some tension on your fabric as it pulls through, so that, and then there's a little feeder underneath. If you see, there's some little teeth there. It's like a track that actually helps to pull the fabric through and bring your bobbin thread up. So you'll put your fabric under, let the presser foot down, and you should have a foot pedal. Some machines have a knee lever, but you'll have a foot pedal on yours, I'm sure. And now, most machines have a reverse. Some don't, but if it has a reverse, I always use the reverse to lock the stitch so that it won't come out the end. So mine has a little, just a little arrow in the front that says reverse. So I'm going to press that, and I'm going to press the presser foot, and it's going to go backwards, as you can see, and then it's going to go forward. So that locks the stitch. And then you just check that out, get a piece of fabric. I'm going to lock it again at the end. And try that on a piece of fabric. Now this, and then I always snip the end off and then find the threads where I started and snip those as well. Okay, so it's nice and neat. So if you have your tension right and you pull your fabric apart, where's my camera, you won't see any stitches. If your tension isn't right, when you pull this apart, you're going to see your stitches in there, and you want to adjust. And usually the tension's on the front. There's some little numbers. You want to move it up. Mine's at a 2, so you might want to move it to a 3, down to a 1, and just experiment a little bit, and make sure you're getting a nice tight stitch. You can adjust the size of the stitch. I use I don't use the smallest stitch, but I use a pretty small stitch. But you'll see on your machine there's a place where you can adjust the size of the stitch, and that doesn't really matter. You don't want a really big stitch because that'll pull out a lot quicker than a small stitch. So that's some basics on your machine. And if you're having trouble at this point, don't get frustrated. Find somebody to help you. Sometimes machines need oiled, and if they're running rough and the thread doesn't want to pull through and your tension isn't fixing anything, find somebody and help. It's mechanical, so it can be fixed. Sometimes you need a little help. Sometimes I call my husband to help me get it oiled and so forth. So that's the first part of our little video.